Hello, this is Erica with the Purple Quilt Company. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today I want to go over how I'm going to use a community type quilt block to create a new quilt. So if you want to see how I use this block to create a new quilt, please stay tuned. I'm really excited to share this process that I'm going through right now. Currently, there are a lot of little steps that I want to kind of go through just so you can have an understanding of what's about to happen. I am just really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. There have been a lot of little moving parts. So let's go through it. I guess the first thing is that I got a donation of fabric. I posted about this fabric a while ago, but I never really did like a haul over it. But I'll show you what I have of it currently. It was in a big trash bag, so I moved it out of the bag, and now it's in this box. Now, even though it's in this tiny box, you can see that it's overflowing. It is a ton of fabric, so much fabric. And since I've been cutting for this project, it's actually a little less than it was. But I think that I'm going to use all of this fabric exclusively for this type of project that I am thinking of, and I really wasn't thinking of it until it was done. So, but yeah, this is my stash for hopefully some charity type quilts or some quilts that can be passed out in our local community. I think that would be really amazing. So this was the first thing I got, a huge donation that I wasn't sure what to do with. A lot of fat quarters, a lot of leftovers from making masks, that kind of stuff. So I have this, and then I guess the second part is the event. So my fiance was putting together a car fellowship, so inviting a lot of people with classic cars to come out and have a fellowship at the church, food, family, fun, the whole deal. And he suggested to me that I go ahead and bring some quilts out and do some sewing lessons. So I was a little nervous about it, but I figured I would go ahead and try it out and just see what it looked like, what it might entail. So I decided that I would make, well, first of all, that I would use this fabric for whatever the block was to make, and that it would be something simple and that people could hopefully make quickly. I wasn't sure even about the reception that I would get, anything like that. If anybody would even be interested in sitting with me at the sewing machine. I own 4 sewing machines, but only 2 of them are in working order right now. I have 2 that need to go to the shop. So even that was like, how are we going to do this with just 2 machines? But it doesn't matter. So on this past Saturday, I got some clotheslines to kind of display some quilts, and I did not take any pictures of that setup, but maybe in the background of some of these pictures, you can see where the quilts are. And I set up the sewing machines, and I made a practice block, and this is the block that I decided to use. I've made it before. Here it is. This is, I don't even know if this is the exact Take 5 block, but it's a variation on the Take 5 pattern by a Scarlet Thread. So there are 5 fabrics that you put into this block to create it. And so I figured that we would make a block like this, and I decided to start cutting this fabric to see how much I could get out of it. And at the time, I thought I would make a quilt that had 20 blocks. No, wrong. I wanted to think about making a quilt that had 30 blocks. So if I thought if we get 30 blocks made, that would be enough to make a decent sized quilt. So I originally intended on cutting out enough pieces to make 30 blocks. And this block is really simple. It only takes 3 small squares, a rectangle, and a large square. So a really simple block. I'll put a link to this pattern in the video. Like I said, this is a variation of it. I don't even know if it's completely accurate, but I just did like a variation on it. And I thought this would be really nice, simple to sew, and kind of easy to pick up for folks. So I went ahead and got all these pieces cut. And as I was getting close, I was thinking that I would need a lot of 5-inch squares, and I was going to try to cut it out of this remnant fabric. But then I remembered, plus it was like Friday. So I remembered that I have a stash of 5-inch squares here somewhere that I could use. And my plan was, oh, they're right here. My plan was not even to use all of these, but just to pull out enough to fill out the 90. But I ended up with just taking this whole bin, and so that people could choose the fabrics that they wanted. Get to the event, set everything up, and I really only cut enough squares and rectangles for the amount of blocks that I needed. So as people decided to come and sew, I did little mini sewing lessons for each person. Some people had never sewn before. A few people they already sewed, and so they just kind of whipped through the block. A couple of people decided to make 2 blocks. So it was really nice. By the end of it, I had 20 blocks, and everybody was so gracious to let me get a quick picture of them. So you get to see a quick slideshow of everybody who participated with their blocks. And there was one more thing. After I made my practice block, I measured it, and it was bigger than I thought it would be. This ended up being like 14 inches. And so that's why I was happy with just 20 blocks, because that's going to give me a good sized lap quilt, maybe a twin, but really probably just a large lap. So take a look at everybody's blocks. I'm so excited. And then I'll lay them all out so that you can get a good look at them. Here's the first look at all of the blocks all laid out. I have the layout that I picked. All the big squares are kind of pointing to the left. Generally speaking, it's okay. I think that there are a few pieces that I would love to move around and get a few slightly different looks. But I talked to one of my chief quilting advisors, my mama, and she suggested that we add some sashing to it. So I think that's a great idea. And as I was thinking through this, I probably should have gone ahead and squared everything up, because once I decide on the sashing, I'm going to want to go ahead and sew everything together. But this is just a process, and we'll see how it goes. I went back to that stash of fabrics that was gifted to the cause, and I pulled out a variety of different solids and fabrics that read as solids. So I'm going to lay a few of these out behind these blocks and see what might work the best. I'm going to do this on camera and kind of speed it up, but I'm just going to spread these blocks out and just lay the different pieces under it in different spots so we can see, hopefully there will be a color that really makes these blocks pop a little more. And I want to make the quilt a little bigger because of all these seam allowances. I know that it's not going to that these blocks are going to have to be squared down quite a bit. So these sashing strips will make the quilt just a little bit bigger. So I have a variety of grays, navy, there's a green here, there's purple, and there's a nice tan and a little bit of white. And I added black in here with it. I think there's black, yeah. But I'm not sure because there's already a lot of black in this. But I'm just going to lay these out, see what happens, come on the journey, and maybe there will be a color that really pops out to you. And we'll see what it looks like after everything is kind of laid out. Okay, I've laid out everything with something kind of between it, and I'm trying to see if there's anything that jumps out. We'll go from the top here. The navy is at the top. I don't really care for that at all. There is a dark purple on the right. It doesn't really pop to me. The ones that really pop, I sort of like this medium gray right here. I like the tan. I think I like the tan a lot. The dark gray, it really pops. I just don't think I have enough of that dark gray to do anything. I may only have that one fat quarter, so that wouldn't be enough to complete the whole quilt. And let's see, I do like the white, and there's a lot of white. It's just not my normal go-to, so I'm like, just because it's not my normal. And the tan is pretty nice too. So I think that could be a nice one, and there's a lot of that, so that might be by default what I choose. This tan that has some texture in it, I do like that a lot. Um, I only have the 2 fat quarters of it, so I would really have to play with my measurements to see how much I need. Or, I mean, I know I could do a combination of different fabrics. So either way would be fine. And then this blue, it actually pops a lot. I just don't know if I have enough to do it. And I think that would bring a really interesting look to the quilt. So we're not going to discount that one just yet. And then over here, I have a light gray with some texture. So again, the texture really does it for me. I prefer the texture over the solids. But I don't know. And then that's another of those two are the same. Maybe not. That one seems to be a little lighter, but it could be the lighting in this room. So yeah, let me know in the comments what pops out to you. I really don't know. And based on the amount of fabric I have, it may just be grays. So we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this as a completed quilt. The next steps that I'll be doing are squaring up all the blocks, making a final decision on the sashing, and then hopefully getting this quilt together pretty soon. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, just a thumb, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. Bye.